And there's going to be some transition time before you kind of fall into place with the tools that you like, but continue to explore them and adapt. And I think that'll be really useful, not just now, but also with how the industry is sort of shaping up to look following the crisis here. So I'm going to hand it over to Jim Claunch now to talk about the next part. It's about the human doing and the human being part.
Thank you, Alec. I tell you, your last topic of tools just ties in perfectly to what I'm getting ready to talk about. Now, I've divided up my section between human doing, which is the things we do at work or the things that are task oriented or things like that. And then the human being being more the connection that we need and how to go about that connection while we are working from home, because that's still extremely critical for all of us, is the human being aspect of it while we're working from home. So from a human doing perspective, go ahead and click, Alec. The first thing is you need the right equipment, right? You need the right screens. If you need 2 screens, have 2 screens. Alec talked about the ergonomics of the office place. I think that's really important as well. But you need to prepare a place in your home with the right tools so that, you know, that is your workspace, that is your office space. And I would say something else that's really important. Alec talked a lot about the different tools, and I think having collaboration tools, you know, including like video conference. Before COVID-19, we were working with a client in an integrated fashion on agile teams. And then when we started work from home, I think there was a little bit of nervousness across the board of, my gosh, how are we going to work agile? How are we going to have our daily stand-up meetings? And immediately using Zoom, we just kept on going. And the agile stand-ups were held with Zoom. Work keeps getting done even today. And so I think having the proper tools and utilizing those tools is just like we talk about digital transformation. And a lot of times we get hung up in tool conversation, but it's really about people using the tools, and that applies to working from home tool. There's some great tools out there. Make sure you're utilizing them, and then just, you know, keep on working in the way that you have been working. Next, please. So the next area is about clear expectations, and clear communication equals clear outcomes. And I think more than ever before, you know, there's so much noise in people's lives right now with COVID-19, and then literally noise at their house if they're working and there's young children there, there's no daycare. And so there's a lot of opportunity for distraction with the people we're working with or that are part of our teams. And so really being clear on expectations, and that goes when you have your team meetings, being really clear in your communication. And then also, even after the team meetings, having individual catch-ups, even if it's for 10 minutes, you know, you don't have to break your calendar down in 30-minute increments, but it's really important that you take the time to communicate with the people on the team so that they're very aligned on what's expected, what their deliverables are, when they're due by. And this idea of clear communication, it's communicating so that you're not misunderstood. Be absolutely clear that your team is hearing you. And then what you're going to end up with is clear outcomes. You're going to get the outcomes that you're expecting, but just recognize that in today's world, especially with the work from home and shelter in place, and there's just a lot of noise in the background that you really have to communicate expectations and be clear with. Next. The other thing from a human doing perspective is keep busy and keep your teams busy. It says here it's the cheapest kind of medicine there is. I absolutely agree with that. I think it's so easy when we slow down and we have too much spare capacity on our time. Man, all you got to do is turn on the television and you're going to be overwhelmed with anxiety. You know, COVID-19, unemployment, 2 trillion of bailout. There's plenty for us to be anxious about. And Alec mentioned, some tools for mental health. And I think those are always something that to keep in mind, but keep busy. And like Alec's going to talk about it a little bit later in more detail, but that includes reskilling yourself. If you have some downtime, there's plenty of training available online. A lot of it is free, whether it's coding or digital skills or agile skills, Scrum Master. There's just so much out there where you can improve yourself. And I think we've entered a world, and we've been in the world. Most industries have already been there. In oil and gas, I think we're moving there of where we have to recognize we're going to be learning our whole career, and that the journey itself is a learning journey, and so always take the time to learn, read something that you've been interested in. Like I said, take a course. I'm fortunate in that in the job I have at Bain and Company, I'm able to write papers on what I think about the industry and digital transformation. And so I've been keeping myself busy with that. So make sure that your team is busy, the individuals are busy, and if they're struggling to stay busy as a leader, like I said, talk to them about the training they can get online, how they can improve themselves. And so it's a great opportunity for you as a leader to make sure that you're developing your people while you're developing their team at the same time they're delivering good outcomes. Next. I think most importantly, for me, it's kind of funny because waking up Saturday feels like waking up Tuesday, and waking up Wednesday is the same as Sunday. We typically on a Saturday, we get up, we go to the gym, and then we're off to a farmer's market to get vegetables or bread or what have you. And now with shelter in place, we can't do that. We don't do that. And so it's our whole rhythm is out of whack. The other thing I find myself is, I don't do a good enough job of separating when I'm working, when is downtime, and it just kind of all blurs together. And I find myself sitting in front of the machine for way too long without taking a break. And so this right here, don't forget to take care of yourself, is something that I am not very good at. I don't do a good enough job taking care of myself. Fortunately, my wife is very good at reminding me to take care of myself, to eat the right food. We exercise. We'll take the dogs for a walk. This includes, your mental health, whether you're into meditation or, whatever if you're a spiritual person, whatever you do in that space, but you've got to take care of yourself. And not just work all the time, or worry all the time. If you like to exercise. If you like to read. If you whatever it is, you just need to make sure that you're doing a good job of taking care of yourself as we go through COVID-19, the downturn in oil price, with all the pressure around us. Making sure that you're taking care of your well-being is really important. The other thing I would say to remember is if you're shelter in place with a significant other and there's children around, recognize that no one has to tell you that the whole house is under stress. And so by taking care of yourself mentally and physically, it's going to be much easier in the whole household if you're the one that can be calm, be the one that gives a hug, or is willing to be positive, stay in a good frame of mind. Is going to help the whole household. Just beyond yourself, it'll help the whole family. Next. So this next section I want to talk about is about the human being aspects. Click, please. So, this one, I love this particular picture. It talks about empathy and connecting and compassion. And what I learned pretty quickly is that, those households where there's a husband and wife, or spouses or partners or significant others working together, and there's children at home, it is full of stress. And it's full of stress actually because our people are not able to deliver as quickly as they would like to, right? Because they're having to take care of children because there's no daycare. They're having to also make sure that their significant other, or partner, spouse has time also to do their job. And so just reaching out and connecting with your people and understanding that, and helping the people understand that, hey, it's okay that, you're not going to be able to get work done as quickly as you used to do. And that's understandable. And the thing is, the people, all of us are living this same reality. But sometimes our people, our employees, get really stressed. They may be worried about their job, or they may be worried about their spouse's job. And so as leaders, it's so important for us to step in and help our people understand that what we're going through are really special times, and to just be there with them. And one idea that we had here was, if you can get each partner, spouse, or significant other to come up with 2.5 or 3 hours during a day that's blocked out for their work, and they can set up meetings in that space, et cetera, and communicate with clients or internal stakeholders, what have you. People can understand that. And then also, if you happen to call that employee outside that window, recognize there may be a 3-year-old in that person's lap, and that's just the way it is, and that's okay. But I think it's so important for us to be connecting with people and having compassion and empathy. Also, there's some that are worried or taking care of an elderly parent. So there's just plenty going on for us as leaders to connect and just have empathy. Next. I think the other thing that's really important is when we're talking to our employees, or talking to colleagues, or talking to others, is keeping calm and just carrying on. And that is so critical, and it ties into taking care of ourselves, both physically and mentally and spiritually. Is there's all of this is out of our control. And so our ability to remain calm when we communicate and we have team meetings, you share the truth, you can share facts, but in the end, communicate it in a calm way. Because I promise our people and our colleagues, as a general rule, are stressed out big time, and they're full of anxiety. And so if you can set an example of being calm and working and getting things done and communicating in a very positive way, I think that is fantastic. The other thing you can do here is actually in keeping calm and carry on is recognize you can help others. And I think I was so impressed that within Bain, one of our consultants, an early career individual, set up a 501c3 and has raised money, and in Dallas and Houston are providing meals to hospital workers in the hospitals, which blew me away because this is an early career individual that just took it upon himself with some of his teammates and did this. And so I think in addition to taking care of yourself, one way to be calm and carry on is if you can find ways to help others, right? Because there's so much help that is needed in the world today and in our communities today. And there's ways that we can contribute to support those communities without putting ourselves at risk. So I think that's something to think about as well, is find some way that you can help out in the community. And then I think it also kind of helps keep you calm and he keeps you carrying on because you're doing something absolutely greater than yourself. Next. Now this one's easy for me. Those of you that know me, this one's easy. I am different. And I think in these stressful, anxious times and in meetings, what I've seen examples of is, so one company, there were 5 or 6 people in the meeting, video meeting, obviously, but they took the first 5 to 8 minutes of the meeting and allowed each individual to either introduce a child that was home with them or a pet. And I thought that was a great idea, just so that it brings reality into the work world, the meeting situation, that, hey, this is my new reality. This is your new reality. So I thought that was great. I mentioned earlier that with one of our clients, we're doing stand-up meetings for Agile, and a couple of people are wearing a different hat to that Agile meeting every single day, just to be unique and to do it their way. I've heard of another company that opening day for the baseball season, they wore or are going to wear their baseball team's jersey that day for all of their meetings. So there's kind of a theme meeting, if you will, in terms of just a way to keep it different. So what I do on Zoom allows you to have virtual backgrounds. So I have some crazy virtual backgrounds. I have one of them with The Big Lebowski, which happens to be my favorite movie, where I have Jeff Bridges on one shoulder and John Goodman on the other shoulder. I have another one that's The Shawshank Redemption, that's got Timothy Robbins on one shoulder and Morgan Freeman on another. And it's intended just to be different, just to bring some lightheartedness into this situation. So don't be afraid to be different. I think it's super important that we're all demonstrating the human being in us while we go through this. Next. So be crazy and have fun. And again, those of you that know me, this one's easy for me. I can check that box every day, all day. And what I mean by this is I've seen some great examples of, like, so for example, at Bain, what we've done, and Alec, I know you and your family did this. We have a Texas offices happy hour on Fridays virtually. We come in, there's 140 or 50 people, and then we're sent off into breakout rooms we have our cocktails. We get to meet new people. We get to chat a little bit. And then we go back into the main area. We're sent to new breakout rooms. Really has been a great experience. I've got to meet some really great people in the Bain office that I wouldn't have got to know before. I know of families that have done FaceTime Yahtzee where they play the dice game or they do FaceTime meals. Yesterday, I actually did a FaceTime meeting with my cousin, and we shared a cocktail and a cigar virtually over FaceTime. So use it in a way you can do different things. You can have fun. Like I know that there are groups that, they call each other up and all get on and have a plank exercise contest. Who can do plank for the longest, right? I haven't participated in that one. I know of dance contests that they've had. So use this time of where we're locked up or locked down, if you will, and figure out a way to do something that gives you an opportunity to have fun and connect with people. And don't forget that through all of this, we're human beings and we need to connect with one another.